Carrying on with systems of equations, we looked at solving systems of equations by graphing. So we know where the two lines on the graph intersect is going to be the solution to a system of equations. Now we're going to look at solving systems using other methods. And this method is substitution. So substitution just means putting one value in place of another value, right? And so we can substitute to solve systems. So there's objectives for today. We're gonna do those things. Here's our warm-up. Rochelle is conducting an experiment on cells of Elodea, Elodea, a kind of water plant, to induce plasmolysis. I'm already confused. To induce plasmolysis at the correct rate, she needs to use an 8% saline solution, but she has only the solutions shown. Oh my goodness. Holy biscuits. All right, so let's jump in here. This is one of those. Have we done a problem yet this year involving these percent things like this?
Yeah, we
It seems like we've looked at some, and these were not our favorite types of problems, were they?
Oh, I didn't mind.
Okay, so I'm getting out the book already. This is topic 4, lesson 2. I gotta make sure I get the steps right here. This is funny. Lesson 4, chapter 4, lesson 2. Here we go. Practice problem solving, backing up, finding Rochelle. There she is. All right. Here we go. Okay, so now that I've got the answer, I've got my answer key in front of me. If Rochelle mixes the two solutions to get 100 milliliters of an 8% saline solution, which will she use more of? And explain. Well, what's your gut feeling of which one she'll use more of?
10%.
Why is that?
The average is 7.5.
Okay.
It needs to be above.
So 10% is closer to 8%, right? So we need more of the 10% one than we do of the 5% one, right? So how can Rochelle determine the amount of each solution she needs to make the 8% saline solution? Okay, any thoughts on how we need to set up our, I'm assuming it's gonna be a system of equations that we'll need to use, right?
Yeah.
You would think, since this is a chapter on the system of equations. So, all right, so if Rochelle mixes two solutions to get 1,000 milliliters of an 8, which will she use more of? She will use more of the 10% solution because 8 is closer to 10 than 5. I said those words, and I didn't even read them yet. That's awesome. All right. Part B. So how can she set them up? Well, so if we know she needs, let's just make, usually we use X and Y, right? But can we use other letters? Because if we use X and Y, then we have to decide which one is X and which one is Y. Why don't we just use A and B? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So can we just say A plus B? So however much of A she uses plus however much of B she uses needs to equal how much?
8%.
Not 8%. 100 mil. This is interesting. In the book here, the way the book runs through it, they have. This is one of those times where I copied this out of the online book, and now looking at the textbook, they have different numbers, which makes it super simple to figure out, right? In the book it says 1,000 milliliters, but we're going to go with 100 because that's what we got on the screen. So 100 milliliters. So I need some number of milliliters of solution A plus some milliliters of solution B, and those 2 milliliters added together needs to be 100, right?
But you also need to even out that percentage.
Now we also need to even out the percentages, right? So we can do, yeah, that's not bad. What is the percent solution of this one? Excuse me. We can do, so 10% would be 0.1 of A, right? That's a decimal. Plus, what is this one? So this would be 0.05 of B, and what does it need to equal?
Well, 0.08.
Oh, wait, yeah, 0.05, I wrote that correct. It needs to equal
8%.
8%.
0.08 or 0.08.
This is interesting. Why? So if we want it to be 8%, it needs to be 8% of this amount, right?
Oh, so 8.
It needs to be 8. Because it needs to be 8% of the 100 milliliters needs to be the solution, right? So, okay, so if we have, this is a good question. So if this, let's pretend, I know this bottle has measurements on it, right? But we're gonna ignore that for now. Let's say this bottle has 100 milliliters in it, okay? If it's 100 milliliters, that's what it's got in it, 100 milliliters of stuff. How much of that is the saline? If it's 10% saline solution.
10.
So there'd be 10 milliliters of saline and 90 milliliters of probably just water, right? Okay, and then if this one was 100 milliliters, how much would it be?
5.
There'd be 5 milliliters of saline and there'd be 95 milliliters of water. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're making 100 milliliters and we want it to be 8%. So how much total saline do we need to get out of this?
8 milliliters.
We need 8 milliliters. Okay, so we need that number to be 8 using 10% of this and 5% of that. Okay, so this is gonna work. That all makes sense to me. Okay, so we're gonna solve this by substitution. And what I want to do is notice I've got an A and a B in this equation, and I've got an A and a B in this equation. What I need to do is figure out what does A equal so that I can put an amount into this one. So I need to solve this equation for A, okay? So how do I solve this equation for A?
Don't you need to also figure out what B is?
Well, I'm starting with A. We could start with B, but I'm starting with A.
But to truly solve it, would you also need to
We're gonna have to get B eventually, but for now, I need to solve one thing. You do one thing at a time. You can't solve for both in one step. You have to solve for one thing first and then solve for the other. So I'm solving for A. How do I get A by itself? Subtract B from both sides. So I know that A equals 100 minus B. That make sense? I've got an A right here in this equation. So what can I put into that equation for A? I can put 100 minus B. So I can do 0.1 times 100 minus B plus 0.05 B equals 8. Now I can solve and figure out what B is. Sit down here where I can reach it. So we're gonna multiply. What's 1/10 times 100?
10.
Is 10 minus 0.1 B plus 0.05 B equals 8. So I need to combine these two like terms and I need to subtract 10. I can do that in one step. You with me? So subtract 10 and I would get 0.1, negative 0.1 plus 0.05 is going to be negative 0.05 equals negative 2. Divide by negative 0.05. And calculator, 2 divided by 0.05 is 40. So B equals 40. What does that mean?
That's how many milliliters of solution B?
I need 40 milliliters of solution B. So how much am I gonna need of A?
60.
Okay, so, and we could, this is a simple one where we could do this, but I could solve for A over here. I could do A equals 100 minus 40. So A equals 60, right? So I need 60 milliliters of solution A, and I need 40 milliliters of solution B, and that will give me a total of of an 8% solution. Okay? All right. That's solving by substitution. We figure out what one of our variables equals in terms of the other variable. We substitute it into the other equation, and we solve it. Okay? Obviously, there's several steps. You gotta keep track of things, but it's not difficult math, right? This is math we can do. So, what is the solution to the system of equations? Well, we're just gonna work through some examples. I know what y is. Y is 6x plus 7. So what can I do with that?
Put that in the other equation, so.
I can substitute 6x plus 7 in for y. So 3x minus 8 times 6x plus 7 equals 4. Everybody understand that part?
Yep.
That's not hard stuff. I mean, I put this amount right here and I put it into that equation for y, right? So now distribute 3x minus 48, 48x, whoops, got my x. oh no. Okay, 48x minus 56 equals 4. So I need to combine like terms and add 56 to both sides. So 3 minus 48x is negative 45x. I need to add 56 to both sides. So that equals 60. Divide by negative 45. Yikes, they were not nice to us here. Right off the bat, we're getting some fractions. So what is 60 over negative 45?
X equals negative 1.3 repeating.
Or negative 4/3. We want to avoid repeating decimals because they're not friendly to us in solving equations. Okay, so fractions are going to be your friends on that. I know you guys don't believe that when I say it, but negative 4/3. All right, negative 1 1/3. Okay, so now I need to take this amount, that value, and I can substitute it into either equation. It doesn't matter which equation I use. I can substitute it into either one. Usually there's going to be one equation that looks easier. Which one looks easier to you? The top one, because it's already 1y. If I put negative 4/3 in for x, all I got to do is finish the right side and I know what y equals. So y equals 6 times negative 4/3 plus 7. So y equals
That'd be 24.
24.
3, which would be 8.
negative 8 plus 7, negative 1. Okay, so if we've got an x value and a y value, how do you think I should probably write my answer? Ordered pair. That's a location on a graph, right? We've already seen that with solving by graphing earlier. That's where the two lines are going to cross. So we write our answers as an ordered pair. Okay? All right, this right here, by the way, is why this, picture what this would look like if we graphed it. Would you be able to identify exactly what that value was just by looking at the graph? It would take some work. You'd have to think about slopes and where the line's going up and over. You could figure it out where it needs to be, but it would be tough to figure that one out. So using math, we figure out a fraction and it was no problem, right? Okay. All right. lot of these, especially at the beginning here, doing substitution, they're gonna be set up in a nice simple format. You're already gonna know what one variable equals. So all we have to do is make our choices. X equals y plus 6, so I can put y plus 6 in for x, right? Y plus 6 plus y equals 10. Subtract 6, so 2y equals 4. Divide 2, so y equals 2. That was simple enough.
Yeah.
X equals 2 plus 6, so x equals 8. And you can tell if I had chosen the other, this one's easy to see, if I had chosen to substitute into the second equation, would I have gotten the same answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put a 2 in for y, 8 plus 2 equals 10. So either way, you get the correct answer. Okay? We good so far?
Yes.
All right. Try another example. Y equals 2x plus 1 or minus 1. So I know what y equals. I can put it into that equation. So 2x plus 3 times 2x minus 1 equals negative 7. So that would be 2x plus 6x minus, no, yeah, that's right, plus 6x minus 3 equals negative 7. Add 3. 8x equals negative 4. Divide by 8, so x is negative 1/2. Everybody good? I'm going kind of fast through these, but I don't feel like it's hard math. Did I make a mistake?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's
That's my mistake.
highly likely that I could make a mistake. So if you see one, point it out.
It was my dumb mistake.
Okay. Your mistake this time, I'll take it. All right. So now I can put negative 1/2 into the first equation. Looks like it'll be the easiest one. Y equals 2 times negative 1/2 minus 1. So 2 times negative 1/2 would be negative 1. Minus 1 is negative 2. So y equals negative 2. Negative 1/2 comma negative 2. All right, so far so good? A vacation resorts offers surfing lessons and parasailing. If a person takes a surfing lesson and goes parasailing, she will pay a total of $175. So they've already got that equation. Parasailing plus surfing equals $175. On Friday, the resort collects a total of $3,101 for activities. How much does each activity cost? And it says 16 people went parasailing, that's where the 16 is, and 20 people take surfing lessons, that's what that is, okay? And so add all that up, and that totals the amount of money they made. So let X be the price of surfing, and Y be the price of parasailing. So what do I need to do so I can make a substitution?
On the first equation, you can subtract either one from that side,
Yeah.
and that's what.
Right?
What are the three others?
I need to decide which one I want to figure out. So would I rather put a value in for X and multiply by 20, or put a value in for Y and multiply by 16?
Put in
Well,
for
no,
X.
but
'cause
20.
Yeah. 'cause
20 is probably easier to multiply. So if I subtract Y, then that's just gonna be 175 minus Y equals X, right? Oops, why did I put a 7? I don't even know why I put a 7 there. Y. Okay, so 20 times 175 minus Y plus 16Y equals 3,101. So 2 times 175 would be 350, so 3,500.
Yeah, 3,500.
3,500 minus 20y plus 16y equals 3,101. subtract 3,500. Negative 20 plus 16 would be negative 4y equals, that'd be 400, 399, negative 399?
Yeah, so it'd be negative 4y equals negative 399. So you can't you just, change them both to a positive, cause they're both negative?
Yeah, I mean, 399 divided by 4. So 399 divided by 400 divided by 4 would be 100. It's gonna be like 99.75.
Was that, yeah, 99.75.
$99.75 to go. That's the Y, and the Y is parasailing. So 99.75. So Y equals 99.75. Okay, and then we can solve.
Can you just do 99 3/4?
Yes, but since it's money this time, I mean, since it's money, I would do it as a decimal,
Okay.
but I wouldn't count it wrong if you put 3/4.
Now we just take 175 minus 99.
Okay, so X equals 175 minus 99.75, and that's gonna be 75.25.
Yes.
So X is 75, point. So in this one, and I know we're still doing X values and Y values, 75.25. I don't think I would write this one necessarily as an ordered pair. They are both money, so you could label them, 75.25 for surfing. That's the price of surfing. And then this is the price for parasailing, writing all the way down here at the bottom of the screen. This is hard to do. Parasailing. Actually, that's not too much worse than my normal handwriting. It's better.
Well, to be fair,
Thanks.
you haven't had to write much of the
Yeah.
numbers recently, at least not for us.
Yeah. All right, on Saturday, Vacation Resort offers a discount on water sports. Take a surfing lesson, go parasailing, costs $130. That day, 25 people take surfing lessons, 30 people go parasailing. Total of $36.50 is collected. So what is the discounted price of the activity? So, I mean, it's the same problem with different numbers, right? So X plus Y equals what?
130.
130. And then 25 people. So which one? Let's see. Y is parasailing, X is surfing. So 25 25X plus 30Y equals 36.50. Same thing. So we could do minus Y here, right? So X 25 times 130 minus Y plus 30Y equals 36.50. 25 times 13 would be 300. 325, so 32.50. 32.50 minus 25Y plus 30Y equals 36.50. So that would be negative 25 plus 30 is 5Y equals 400.
Yeah.
Divide by 5, so Y is 80. So X equals 130 minus 80, so X equals 50. So the prices are 80 and 50. So X is 50 for surfing and 80 for parasailing. My handwriting's not getting any better. All right.
Wait, can you also just have taken 45, figured out what percentage? Hang on, I just see much more complicated now, but.
Are there multiple ways that we can solve math problems?
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
sure.
saying for the
We could,
code.
I'm sure you could, I'm sure you guys, especially you guys, could brain power through some of these using different methods to solve, and that's fine, but, you know, these are the steps we're learning. I mean, substitution is a way you need to think about and consider. So what is the solution to the system of equations here? I think that we've worked through the first part of the lesson, now we're gonna start seeing some twists to it, right? Because what have we not covered yet? Well, yeah, but what type of solutions did we see? We saw solutions. What else did we see with graphing? No solutions and infinite solutions. So we've got to account for that with this method of solving. What is that going to look like when we solve these? Okay. So y equals 3x plus 1. We know what y equals. It equals 3x plus 1. So let's put it in there. 6x minus 2 times 3x plus 1 equals negative 2. All right, so 6x, negative 2 times 3x is minus 6x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 equals negative 2. So 6 minus 6x, those go away. Negative 2 equals negative 2. Infinite solution. So this is infinite solutions. That means the lines are the same lines, right? So we don't need to do anything else. We don't need to prove anything else. We have the same line graphed on top of itself. Okay? So now, let's do this one. Y goes in there, so 5x minus 5x minus 4 equals negative 4. Well, that one's easy enough to see. 5x drops out with 5x. Negative 4 equals negative 4. So that's infinite solutions again. Well, that was simple enough. I like that one. All right, let's put y in.
I'm willing to bet this one's gonna be no solution.
You willing to bet? I'm not taking that bet. So x minus x plus 5 equals negative 4. X's drop out. We have 5 equals negative 4. That's a no-no. So that would be no solutions. That means these lines are parallel. And you can see, if I put, this one's in slope-intercept form already, if I took and put that one into slope-intercept form, that'd be y equals negative x minus 4. So they have the same slope, but they have different y-intercepts, right? That make sense? Okay. So, you know, the infinite solutions and no solutions becomes pretty simple with these. You do need to show your work. You know, on the quiz on Tuesday, you need to show that don't just write don't just write no solution. Show the step. Make sure that you prove it's no solution. So this goes in for y right there. So oops, 2x plus negative y plus 5, right?
Can you just do this take, right?
You could, and you would. I just want to make sure that we see that it's, you know, it would matter. Like if this was minus, we would need to make sure to get the symbols correct, right? So this one, because it's plus, and then you put that in, it ends up not changing anything. But I made a mistake anyway, and you guys didn't even stop me. I heard somebody mumble something, but that should not be y, that should be negative 2x, right? Okay, so 2x plus a negative 2x, obviously those drop out, and a plus 5 would be 5 equals 5. So that is infinite solutions. So I snuck another one of those in there. Try to get tricky. Nate starts a lawn mowing business. In his business, he has expenses and revenue. Nate's expenses are the cost of the lawnmower and gas. His revenue is $25 per lawn. At what point will Nate's revenue exceed his expenses? Okay. So his revenue is $25 per lawn. So
Why would he have sprinklers running and get
I'd
his
say-
mower all wet?
and sprinkling on his in his
On his
gas
gas-
can too. That's
yeah.
not good.
Also,
Okay.
if he hasn't mowed yet, that makes it harder to mow because now the grass just all comes up.
All right.
Oh, that
Interesting. Is this a further? Nope, that's a different one. Okay. I want to see if that was. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, you would subtract
I need to do
25. So, no, you would take 25 minus 2. 25 minus 2, and then come on, he's a kid, he's not gonna put the rest of it all to his mower. Let's say that he puts $20 of that to his mower and then keeps $3 per lawn.
8 lawns.
Then it would take him 10 lawns to pay off his mower, and then he starts making $23 per lawn
8 lawns.
Okay, what?
instead of only $3 per
What?
lawn.
8 lawns.
What?
No,
No,
what?
stop bringing
I
extra
was-
factors into this.
Wait, what?
No.
So he's not gonna keep any money.
It doesn't even say that he's a
I
kid
vote not to do
anyways.
this.
Yeah.
You prefer? I prefer not to do this one.
I vote not to do this one.
I-
It's like,
Pass.
yeah, okay, pass.
It's,
For a friend.
it ends up being 8.69,
Doing
956, so it just rounds up to about 9.
Wait, hey, listen. Shh. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this mathematically. Okay, let's do this mathematically.
Non-Colony.
Hey, shh. If I were going to graph what dude's doing here, what would be my X value and what would be my Y value?
Money's always X unless there's time. Oh.
Money's not.
Why?
If you're gonna say money is something, money is almost always Y.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna be his money, and this is gonna be what?
Lawns mowed.
Number of lawns. Okay, so this is gonna be lawns mowed. All right. So how do we relate the number of lawns and the money? Okay, so if he mows one lawn, what does that do for his money?
Gives him $22.
Okay, so the Y value equals what?
Y equals 25x.
25x. That's my that's my first equation. Y equals 25x. He's gonna make $25 per lawn. Okay? All right. Now, let's talk about his expenses, okay?
Minus 200. Wait, Wait, but they also have to count for minus 200. Wait,
For the
no,
lawnmower.
no, because he would only be making $25 per lawn because he has to subtract $2 for gasoline. So he's actually only making $23 per lawn. So your slope's actually 20. Well, he's making 25.
Bruh.
We need to think of it in terms of the money that he needs to make to break even. So you're thinking about expenses, which is, I understand why you're thinking of it in negative terms, but let's think of it in terms of what he needs to cover as he mows lawns. So he needs to cover a $200, right? And he needs to cover how much?
2x.
$2 per lawn, right? So Y equals 200 plus 2x. Okay? There's your two equations.
Wow.
Crazy.
All right? That's it. So how do you solve that sucker?
Put Y in for
Well, I mean, they're both equal to Y. So all I gotta do is put 25x in for that y. So it'd be 25x equals 200 plus 2x
You just take away 2x.
minus 2x. So 23x equals 200,
Equals 8.69565.
so 8.7. X equals 8.7. So Holden was over there yelling, 8 lawns, and you were close because 8 lawns covers the lawnmower, but you didn't figure in the gas. Okay, so
I would say
That's what
James is a
8.7
kid and
was,
he's
though.
not
Yeah,
gonna.
you're just gonna
That's why
Well,
you know it.
Round it to 9 lines.
he's gonna finish that one out, and then he gets to pocket a couple of bucks at the end of that line, and then after that, he's just paying $2 per lawn for gas, and he's making way more money. All right, so all right, and sometimes, by the way, do I need to figure out what my Y value is at this point? We've answered the question. All right, so we really don't even need to figure out the Y value. So the Y value would tell us how much money he made with 8.7 lawns. And we don't care because we've answered the question. All right, so,
We don't have that.
all right, so the bell's about to ring. We will do the assignment for this tomorrow. Good job today, guys.